Hashtag Trending would like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a complete networking stack, wired, wireless, and cellular in one integrated solution that's built for performance and scale. You can find them at meter.com/HTT. Cloudflare outages cascade into Thursday, hitting Microsoft, Amazon, and YouTube. A Tokyo court rules Cloudflare liable in major manga piracy case. NVIDIA's record earnings push back AI bubble fears for now. And the new words you can't say online. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Cloudflare is having a tough week, and so are its clients. Tuesday brought a major outage where Cloudflare reportedly pulled down several large sites, including Amazon and other major platforms. The company said it recovered by midday and later explained the cause. A file containing a list of blocked sites had grown so large that it triggered the disruption. But the problems didn't end there. Microsoft 365 users continue to struggle throughout Wednesday with issues widely believed to be linked to Tuesday's failure. Microsoft confirmed that some 365 services were down again, saying Office.com and related tools were inaccessible and that updates would be posted on its status channels. Users reported that even after Cloudflare's recovery notice, some files wouldn't open, changes wouldn't sync, and apps froze. These problems seem to resurface again today, with new complaints about documents becoming unusable. Then came a second wave. Wednesday night saw another huge surge of reports on Down Detector, followed by fresh disruptions Thursday morning. Charts showed major platforms like Amazon and YouTube being hit again, along with a new round of Microsoft 365 trouble. As of midday Thursday, when we recorded, Cloudflare hadn't yet provided any explanation of a second outage. But no matter what Cloudflare eventually reports, the pattern is hard to ignore. Clients will tolerate a single outage, but when failures begin clustering, especially from a company many rely on to prevent disruptions, confidence starts to erode. And while Cloudflare engineers are fighting operational fires, the company's legal team just took a major hit in Japan. In a landmark ruling, the Tokyo District Court ordered Cloudflare to pay roughly 500 million yen, that's about $3.3 million to major manga publishers, including Kodansha. The publishers argued that a large piracy site relied on Cloudflare's services to stay online and handle heavy traffic. Cloudflare made the standard defense that many tech companies rely on. They're a neutral infrastructure provider, essentially a dumb pipe, and not responsible for the content that passes through those pipes or their network. But this court disagreed. It ruled that Cloudflare's speed and stability services were essential to the pirate site operation, effectively helping it reach a bigger audience. In other words, the court said Cloudflare didn't just carry the traffic, it enabled the infringement. And why does this matter? Well, for years, big U.S. platforms have claimed broad immunity under variations of the "we're just a platform" argument. It's debated, but it's also shaped how social networks, hosting providers, and others handle content. A decision like this against a backbone provider rather than even a social platform could signal trouble, at least in Japan. If other courts begin seeing infrastructure players as contributors to illegal activity, the compliance and monitoring requirements for companies like Cloudflare could grow sharply. And it lands at a time when copyright debates are heating up elsewhere. OpenAI is already facing questions about Sora in Japan and whether AI-generated videos that mimic recognizable artistic styles cross the line into infringement. But that's small comfort for Cloudflare that has got to be having one of the worst weeks on record. Yesterday, we talked about Peter Thiel selling his NVIDIA shares and whether that might be an early sign that some investors are getting cautious about a potential AI bubble. Then, NVIDIA's earnings came out after we went to air, and the picture they painted was very different. The company posted $57 billion in quarterly revenue and says demand for its newest AI chips remained far ahead of supply. Orders for the Blackwell generation are already booked deep into next year. And for now, cloud providers and AI companies seem willing to buy every high-end GPU NVIDIA can manufacture. And that kind of demand certainly quiets the talk about a bubble, at least on the hardware side. But it doesn't resolve the bigger question, which isn't about chip sales in the short term. It's about whether companies buying that infrastructure can eventually generate enough real revenue to support the massive spending we're seeing today and into the future. Hardware demand can be strong, even when the underlying business case is still unproven. And the BBC did a piece this week many of us have noticed but rarely named directly: the growing list of things you can't say on the internet. Not because they're obscene or hateful, but because algorithms quietly filter or suppress them. Words related to war, political violence, or certain health topics can get downranked, demonetized, or blocked entirely. Now, as a podcaster, I'm not usually worried about censorship. We can say just about anything, except on YouTube, which is a different world. I routinely hear creators say, "I can't show this, I can't say that," even when the content is factual and perhaps even newsworthy. Some of that is legitimate copyright enforcement. If you use someone else's material, you risk a takedown. That's fair. But more and more, creators are being limited from showing reality. Footage from the war in Ukraine, videos that document human rights abuses, and in one case, a YouTuber had a video removed simply for demonstrating how to jailbreak a device, not to pirate content, but to modify something he already owned. For those who grew up at a time of censorship, knowing George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on television, or those who watched the Smothers Brothers get taken off the air, nobody wants to return to those good old days. Obscenity rules and political pressure were blunt tools. But at least they were obvious. Today's version is quieter and harder to spot. Now, nobody's arguing for hosting racist or exploitative material. Platforms absolutely should act on that. But when we can no longer discuss wars, their consequences, or the way women and children are exploited during conflicts or in our society, that crosses from safety into something else. That becomes a platform deciding on what we're allowed to see and talk about. And at a time when more people get their information from social media and increasingly from AI systems, whoever controls those systems holds tremendous influence over what we understand about the world. We might have allowed it in the past, but we wouldn't allow that kind of control on traditional public broadcasters today. The question now is, why would we accept it on these new social networks that shape so much of our daily information? And that's our show. Once again, we'd like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers full-stack networking infrastructure, wired, wireless, and cellular to leading enterprises. And working with their partners, Meter designs, deploys, and manages everything required to get performant, reliable, and secure connectivity into a space. They design the hardware, the firmware, build the software, manage deployments, and run support. It's a single integrated solution that scales from branch offices, warehouses, and large campuses all the way to data centers. You can book a demo at meter.com/HTT. That's meter.com/HTT. I'm your host, Jim Love. Join us this weekend as the Project Synapse team talks about the new Google Gemini 3.0 release. We have a lot of fun. We hope you will too. And have a fabulous Friday.